Welcome. Today, we're jumping into a really important part of SAP material management. We're going to demystify how text get automatically pulled into your purchasing documents. You know, it seems like magic, but we're going to break down the exact logic SAP uses step by step. So, let's get right to it. This is the big question, right? Have you ever wondered why a specific note from a contract just shows up in your PO, but that really important text you put in the purchase requisition gets ignored? Well, I promise you, it's not random. There is a very precise logic at work here, and we're about to pull back the curtain on it. Okay, so before we can understand the automation, we gotta start with the absolute foundation of this whole process, and that is something called the text type. This is where everything begins. So what are they? Honestly, the easiest way to think of text types is like they're labeled containers. You've got a specific container for your item level instructions, another one for a general header memo, and so on. This structure is what lets SAP handle all this information in such an organized way. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. You'd think you could create new text types for everything, but you can't. You see on the left, you've got the flexibility to create custom text types for things like your suppliers or business partners. But on the right, for that core master data, like the material master or purchase info records, SAP locks it down. Those text types are standardized, and you can't just go in and add new ones. And here's a super important point. Just creating a new text type for a supplier doesn't mean it's ready to use. You have to go into the configuration and explicitly flag it as relevant. And for some texts, there's even an extra step in transaction OBT4. It's basically a safety measure, making sure you really, truly want to turn it on. All right, now that we have our building blocks, let's see how they power the real magic here, the automated copying process, which SAP calls text adoption. This is the engine that's going to save you so much time and effort. Adoption is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's the system's amazing ability to look at a source, say an info record or a contract, find a relevant piece of text, and just poof, copy it right into the new document you're creating, like a purchase order. This is what frees you up from that mind-numbing manual copy and paste routine. At its core, the logic is incredibly simple, just a two-step dance. First, the system scans a source object, like an info record, looking for a text that matches. Then, if it finds one, it copies it over to your target document, like the PO. That's it. Simple, efficient, and best of all, predictable. But and this is the million-dollar question. Where does the system look first? The order, the sequence it uses to search for these texts is absolutely everything, because that order determines which text is going to win the battle and actually show up in your final document. And here it is, the hierarchy, the pecking order for a PO item text. The system starts at the top with number 1, the contract. If it finds an item text there, boom, it copies it and the search is over. It doesn't look any further. But if there's nothing there, it moves down to number 2, the info record. Still nothing? On to number 3, the RFQ or quotation. And only if all of those are empty does it finally check number 4, the purchase requisition. The first one it finds wins. This rule makes it crystal clear. A text from a higher priority source will always, always trump a lower one. So even if you wrote a beautiful detailed note in your purchase requisition, if there's any text at all in the contract for that item, the PR text is completely ignored. It doesn't even get considered. In SAP's world, this hierarchy is law. And just to keep us on our toes, there's a key exception you have to know about. While item texts from a purchase requisition can be adopted, if nothing higher up overrides them, of course, the header memo is a totally different story. That text is specifically excluded from being copied. It lives and dies with the PR. Okay, this is where it gets really powerful. You might be thinking you're just stuck with this automatic process, but you're not. SAP gives you an amazing tool to manage this behavior, and it's called a fixing indicator. This is how you take back control. Think of this table as your control panel. When you set up the copy rules, you pick one of these indicators. If you leave it blank, that means full auto. The text is copied and locked in, no questions asked. The star, or asterisk, means the text is just proposed. It's up to the user to confirm it. And N basically means look but don't touch. The text is shown for your information, but it's read-only. And you've probably seen this before. When that indicator is set to blank for full auto, the system tells you what it did. You'll get that little message at the bottom of the screen confirming that the text was copied and exactly where it came from. It's the system's way of saying, hey, just so you know, I did this for you automatically. Now, when you use that start indicator, the ball is in your court. The system will propose the text, but it's not locked in. You, the user, have to make a choice. You can either change the text yourself and save it, or you can formally click to adopt the proposed text as is. This gives you that critical, final, manual review step. All right, we have covered a ton of ground here, so let's zoom out a bit and figure out what all of this means for you. What are the key things you need to remember to build a really smart text strategy? Let's recap. First, remember that text types are just your basic containers for information. Second, text adoption is that awesome automation engine that does the heavy lifting. Third, and this is crucial, the system follows a strict search sequence, a hierarchy, to find which text to copy. And finally, you are in the driver's seat with fixing indicators. They let you decide how those texts get copied. Oh, and don't forget, you can't customize text types everywhere, like in the Material Master. Understanding these concepts is truly the key to making the system work for you, not against you. So, I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Now that you know how these controls work, how could you use them in your own system? Think about it. How could you use a fixing indicator to automatically and forcibly apply critical, non-negotiable legal terms, while at the same time using a different indicator to simply suggest optional shipping notes from a supplier? The power is there for you to make your purchasing documents smarter, clearer, and more compliant. Hey everyone,